Hey everybody, and welcome back. Alright, well as you can see, I disassembled the bike, so we're here on the welding table. I'm going to finish off all the little bits of bronze that I can't get to. Put a hole in that. Even a little bit of welding to finish on this. So we'll get all that done, and then there's not much, because of the welding and the new tube and everything, there's not that much old paint to clean off, so I'll just give that sand and wire brush type thing, and then all the other little bits, the prop stand and everything like that, they've all been bead blasted anyway. Then hopefully tomorrow, maybe even this afternoon, I might start painting. Now, as you know, when I paint, I'm not going to take the camera in the paint room, there's no way to see it. Anyway, there's nothing really to show you, and I'm not a painter. I mean, my paint comes out quite nicely, but I really would be leading you up the garden path if I started to give you advice. Okay, so that's what's going on. So what else is happening? Well, it's raining, so I'm waiting to see if that stops before I go out for my daily walk, because the treadmill is boring. Also, I've been thinking, I'm not having much luck yet. I've chased up a couple of things and what have you, in finding a Tiger Cub engine. Partly because I know where there is one, but it's an early one, and of course I want the last model. I don't know what, in fact I didn't even know they were still selling it in the UK, but here it was the T20M, the Mountain Cub, sort of built to Johnson Motors. For those of you who don't know the sort of story, or the story is I believe it to be, Johnson Motors on the west coast were the main importers for Triumph, and on the east coast here it was Duarte, I think they call them. They were based in Baltimore, and sort of into the 60s, I don't know what the percentage was, but they were just about taking the vast majority of Triumph's output. So Edward Turner was visiting the States, I guess in the mid-60s, because he used to like to come and get his photograph taken with film stars and stuff in California. And he was telling the Johnson Motors that they were going to discontinue the Cub. Now it just so happened that Johnson Motors had been playing around, fitting different forks, all sorts of stuff, to make up an off-road Cub, because that was getting to be big in California. So they said to, again this is just my understanding of it, they said to Edward Turner, oh no, don't do that, look, if you'll make it to this spec, we'll order however many, a big enough order that they kept doing it. So that's why I'm saying I'm not sure if these later Cubs, and particularly the spec, were sold in the UK or whether it was just for the US. But the T20 Mountain Cub had the heavier forks in, they had a much better oiling system, they had an improved oil pump, which was the great weakness with the Cubs. And in fact I read, I think it was in Don Morley's book, that the competition shop told the Cub riders to ride through every puddle and stream they could find to get water splashed up on the crankcases, because the bearings and stuff didn't like getting hot. Anyway, so to cut a long story short, that means I'm not just looking for any old Cub engine, but I want one from those last, I don't know, 2 or 3 years, 66 to 69, I think it was, manufacture. So, I was thinking, if you go to the BSA Auto website, Charlie Prescott, you'll see he makes a bike called the Mini Otter, which has got one of those laid down sort of Honda 90 knockoff engines made by, I think, Lifan, which Charlie is finding to be very good. So I was wondering about making something with one of those. Now I don't particularly want to do the laid down engine because they're longer, and they do make some vertical 200 and 250s. They're basically the same size, I've just been measuring, as a Beezer 250, but about an inch, maybe 2 inches shorter. They're basically the same length, 13 inches. I found an ad that had the dimensions, and they're about an inch wider at 12 inches as opposed to the the Beezer being 11. And they're wider because of things like the generator, and that seems to stick out more. But they're about the same size, but they're listed as being £65 with a starter motor. Now I would take the starter motor off and blank that off. The starter motors, because of the coils in them, are quite heavy. So it's probably going to, mind you, that's without the carb, but the carb doesn't range. It's probably going to be around £60. So again, I can build the rolling chassis to be around the £100 mark, £110. I think it was £110 for the Otter. Now that big back wheel with it. So I'm thinking I can build a £160 bike with one of them. I would have liked the engine to be a bit smaller, but hey, it's the weight that counts really, not so much the dimension. So I'm thinking about that, because I've made the mistake now, again I'm waffling, of starting to think about the next project. And of course that makes me get antsy to get this finished. So let me get on and get this ready for painting and start painting, and in the meantime, sort of in between things cooling down and things drying, we'll get started on finishing the pedal tank, making the top colour for that. So let me switch you off, you go off and do things while I get this finished. Well, I thought I'd just pop in that short sort of tutorial on spray painting, so now you know as much as I know about spray paint. Alright, now that was just the primer, and actually it's heading towards 5 o'clock on Thursday. Last time I spoke to you on Monday. That's because most of Tuesday Linda and I were out with the attorney doing wills and getting everything sorted like that. This isn't because of my heart attack, this was sort of arranged before, purely coincidental. Then Wednesday I spent half the day at the cardiologist's, who gave me a complete clean bill of health. No heart damage, nothing coming. As he said to me, it's taken 72 years for your arteries to get to the condition they're in now, so you should be good for another 72 years as they've done the mechanical repair. And he said, go back to doing exactly what you were doing before, no restrictions on me whatsoever. Then Wednesday, came home, was going to go into the workshop, do this. Linda almost got caught in a scam. You know, she got an email about renewing something. She didn't want to renew it, so she phoned the number and said, hey, I don't want to renew this. And they said, okay, do this, that and the other. And then the young lad, oh God, I've pressed the wrong button. I've put $56,000 in your, will you go at the bank? Will you do this? Will you do the other? Well, Linda said to him, no, I'm not going to lie to you for you. And then when I came home, I said, whoop, let's have a look. Sure enough, there was $56,888 put in one of her accounts and $56,888 taken out the other. So we haven't lost anything. But I said, come on, bank. We went down to the bank and they said straight away, whoa, this is just a thing to get into your accounts. You know, they put money in and take it out so everything looks kosher. But now they can get at your accounts. So the bank were very good. They closed everything. You know, cancelled the accounts, gave Linda new accounts, and so that was all Wednesday gone. So Thursday morning I had to go down and get a computer looked at, and very nice young lad there, straight away he said, oh, I told him the story, blah, 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 blah. He said, there you go, look, there's the program they've put on. They could now control your computer. He said, so you did the right thing disconnecting it from the internet and not using it. So that's why it's Thursday afternoon and I've done sod all. So hopefully I'll be out on Saturday. Well, I have 3 days with this 2-part primer to put the top coat on. So Saturday I'll come out and paint it. And so this is going to be a very short video. Alright, so till Saturday, enjoy yourselves and I'll see you then. and then I'll finish off, and then I'll tell you to enjoy yourselves again. Alright? See you then. Alright then, it is Saturday. I've done the grey. It's coming up towards lunchtime, so I'm going to be doing the clear coat after lunch. Some of you may remember that on the trials bike frames, what I generally do is mix up the base colour 50-50 with its reducer, with its thinner, as per instructions. I mix up the clear coat, the one I was using was 2-to-1 with the hardener, and then I mix equal quantities of each together to sort of colour the clear coat and spray it. Comes out really hard, it's really nice. Well, now, I think I told you that I had to go to a different paint shop because the one I had was closed down. Well, it's PPG, but it's slightly different paint. It's a more expensive paint actually. They don't do the cheapy paint. Not that it was particularly cheap. But I forgot to ask them if I could do that with this particular base colour and clear coat, because this clear coat is 3-to-1, different hardener. So I wasn't sure. So just to be on the safe side, I'm spraying it with the grey, and then I'm going to spray it with the clear coat. So while that's drying, and now I'm going to go for lunch, it's got to be done minimum of 20 minutes after, or maximum of 24. If it's over 24 hours, you've got to rub it down or what have you. So anyway, what we're going to do then is work on this a little bit. So what we need to do is to make a template to cut out our sheet of alloy. So I will press this on, get some marks, and then I'll cut this out, and then we'll cut some alloy out, 16th inch 3003 grade, and anneal that, and then we'll use the English wheel. Actually, my set of wheels came for it, and I was able to get a set that fitted it exactly. It was a set of 4 wheels. Unfortunately, one of the wheels is a 3, 4, 6 and 8 inch radius of the curve on it, and the English wheel came with a 3-inch one. So I've got 2 3-inch ones. I'm using the sort of dirty finger method here because I've got an edge. You rub it with that and you get a dirty mark where it's touching. So I'm not making this exact, if that's what you're worried about, because I'm going to cut it larger and then it'll get shaped up. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I was hoping to get a 2-inch, but the set came with a 3-inch 4, say 6/8. So anyway, we'll see. I'll see if I can find somewhere that sells them individually, and if I can, then I'll get a 2-inch radius one. Alright, let me cut that out. Right, so as I say, we're going to cut this slightly large. We don't want to cut it too much bigger because that means we've got more metal to move when we stretch, when we're stretching it out and what have you. We don't want that. So that's pretty good. If you wonder what this is, it's that stuff, that the waterproof stuff that they wrap houses in when they're building them. Well, probably not in the UK, but for those of you who don't know this, in the US, virtually all the houses are made out of wood. I think they call it stick frame or something or other. So they're made out of 2x4s and then with wood sheathing on. Even the brick ones, generally it's like that with like a brick cladding on the front, because it's cheap and it's easy, and they only want the houses to last 20 minutes. So anyway, when they've got the whole wood construction done, they wrap it in this stuff. Commonest one's called Tyvek. It's not perfect for doing this because it's a weave, it's not as flexible as paper. I'm waffling because it's such a short video. I'll waffle a bit more, look. Can you see this? Great big bruise. When I was in getting my stent, I had 21 blood samples taken, not a single bruise. But now after about, what, 3-4 weeks of taking blood thinners and all sorts of stuff, they mentioned I'd bruise easier. Well, I just noticed that because I had a blood sample taken, Wednesday. Alright, let me cut a piece of alloy out and anneal it and stop gossiping. Alright, so it goes that way, straight bit to the top. There's our piece cut out. Right, so I'm going to mention two things to forestall comments. You'll notice I cut well wide. And you'll notice that when you watch people like Rachelene and all of them, they make their templates and they're exact. Well, that's because they can make exact templates. I can't. Maybe in time I will, but for the time being, I make a little bit extra so that I've got a bit to play with. I'd hate to cut this exactly at the size of the template and find it was short. I'd rather find it's too big and cut some off. And secondly, I noticed, so I'm sure you did, that last bit of video, that when I was stretching the paper, it looked a bit flat here. So what I've done is I've just taped in one of the ribs that used to be here to check it. And I've still got enough metal to curve it round, or hopefully so. Okay, so I'm going to go off for lunch. And I'll anneal this while I'm painting, because that way I can be painting while it cools. So see you in an hour and a half, something like that. Right, well, clear coat's on. Aluminium is, what's the word I'm looking for, not tempered, annealed. So we're going to have a go with this. And of course, every time you see these mentioned, it's always, don't get your fingers stuck in it. So we will try not to. Now don't forget, I have only ever used one of these once for about half an hour. So let's see what we can do. So you've even got to be able to manoeuvre the damn thing. It's not just a case of going backwards and forwards. Because you obviously can't go up backwards, and you're supposed to come back, turn it, go, turn it, go, turn it, go. Now, well, this thing is not as easy to use as it seems. It has a mind of its own. Stop going. I've got a feeling this thing isn't square. There's some way of shimming this, because it seems to be no, it's probably just me. Here, it's starting to go. I don't know if you can see that, but it's definitely, hang on, let me turn you off a second. Look. I don't know. Anyway, let me tell you, that's got a rock to it. Aha! Aha! Get the hang of this, moving it about, or it's going to keep coming off. Of course, I don't even know if I'm using the right wheel. Nearly finger job. Come on. Yeah, it's definitely working. Let me see if I can get more of this end, because this is the... That way, Michael. That's it. Oh, this is like reversing a trailer. Seems to go. It's bending, look. See that? I say it's like a trailer. It goes the opposite way to the way you expect it to. Don't go that way. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It goes. Right, well obviously I'm not going to just stand here and do this for the next hour with you watching me. So, I'll keep on, but switched you off. I'm sticky, I must have got clear coat on me. And when I've done some more, I'll bring you back, and then that'll be it for today, or well, for this week. Alright, so there's obviously more to this than just going backwards and forwards, because you've got to get curves. But look at that. See? And that is just going backwards and forwards. It's squishing it out to the sides. So I'm going to have to go, I guess, sideways here to squish it to get this round. I don't know if I should put this end onto the bag and just beat it out a bit. But anyway, I'll press on for a little bit longer, and then when we come in on Monday I'll show you how far I've got. So it's working. I have found out actually that when you've got quite a lot of pressure on here, who knows, maybe I've got too much, it will move like that. It's not going to fall over now, but it will move this way. So it's got 2 holes in it, and I think I still have some concrete anchors left, so I'm going to fasten it to the floor. Alright, so bit of paint, bit of panel work. That's it for this week. We had some snow this week, by the way. So until I see you on Monday, you just stay safe and enjoy yourselves.